Boom, baby! Black Ops 3 Zombies has finally been revealed. Today, I'm going to be doing an entire trailer breakdown and be showing you guys all the secret stuff that you guys might have missed in the trailer. And make sure if you are new around here, you hit that subscribe button so you never miss a video, because we're going to be doing the Easter egg. We're going to be doing tons of informational videos about this map, and there is more to come in the future. Have no fear. It is almost upon us. Let's go ahead and jump into this trailer breakdown. So the first thing you guys need to know about Shadows of Evil is that it takes place in the 1920s film noir era. The four actors that play the characters, which are the magician, the boxer, the femme fatale, and the cop, are Jeff Goldblum, Heather Graham, Neil McDonough, and Ron Perlman. I'll just flash their pictures quickly on screen so you guys can know exactly who those characters are. You'll probably recognize some of them, and the first thing you need to know about the location is that it takes place in the 1920s New York City. So if you take a look at this picture of the skyline that we got in the first couple seconds of the trailer, compare this to an image from 1920s New York, you see that the buildings match up pretty much exactly. The two big long buildings are kind of giveaways, and it is confirmed that it is going to be taking place in New York City. So for the first part of the trailer, we have kind of the exposition. We have all the characters kind of waking up, realizing that there's zombies coming after them, and meeting all up in the same spot. The only other gameplay feature that we can pick out of this is that the zombies can climb, they can come down from above, and the Type 99 is returning, as you can see right here, or at least something that looks and acts a lot like the Type 99. But more importantly, what is important is on either side of the screen. So if you take a look at the left-hand side and the very right-hand side, we see the same code that appeared initially inside of the Black Ops reveal trailer, the kind of very first trailer that we got. We got this code kind of floating through the sky, and everyone was kind of just pausing it and wondering, what is this? What does this mean? Well, it's returning again, and it is actually kind of placed on the walls, much in a kind of Mob of the Dead way, on the sides of the map, which is very, very interesting and something that I have no idea what it could mean, and I think we're going to figure this out eventually. I think this might be part of the Easter egg, possibly, or kind of something that we have to figure out through playing the map a little bit later on, but I'm very, very excited to see what this is. It does seem to be kind of prevalent throughout this map, and I won't touch on it again, but I just wanted to point it out inside of this. So very quickly before we move on, I wanted to point out at the very end of this long corridor, there seems to be some sort of purple something. Now, there are a couple different things later on in the trailer that I'll kind of link this to and point it out in, but as I said, this is an in-depth breakdown. I wanted to point out every single thing, no matter how small it may be. And let's go ahead and play a little bit farther, and just very, very shortly after, we see this purple thing in the background again. But what is next to it? That is right, a wall buy. Now, the wall buys, we pretty much guessed 100% that these things are going to be coming back, but as you can see, this pretty much confirms it. There's a couple different that you can see throughout the trailer, but I probably won't touch on them too long, just kind of point them out and move on. So I did want to talk about wall buys. They are returning, they are coming back, and that is pretty darn exciting for zombies. So let's go ahead and move on to the next part. There's nothing too interesting in this part except for the fact that the gumball machine appears in the background and that there is zombie gore. Now, the gore, we pretty much assumed it was going to be coming back, and the gumball machine, I'll kind of talk about it in a little bit, but this next part is actually very important to the storyline and why all these characters are here. It kind of reminds me of the Mob of the Dead, where each of the characters has their own personal little story on what they have done wrong, why they're here, why they think that they've been sinners, and it kind of says that inside of the trailer itself. It says, you know why you're here, you're all sinners, yada yada yada. And it kind of reminds me of that hell feeling where they're in purgatory, which is where it was in Mob of the Dead. And it makes sense because in Mob of the Dead, the director of that map and the director of Origins is the director of every single zombies map inside, or the zombies map that we know about so far. He is the director of that zombie map, so it kind of makes sense why he would be kind of going along with his own little kind of style of zombies where they're stuck in hell, and it somehow connects to the storyline overall. So I guess we're going to figure that out in just a second here, but let's go ahead and talk about each one of these people. The first one is the femme fatale. She seduces men, handcuffs them up, ties them up, and then takes a pair of scissors or whatever and stabs them and kills them. The next up is the cop. He is obviously a dirty cop. You see him taking all of this money. You see him knocking people out and shooting the next one, which is pretty darn bad, a bad thing to do. The next one after that is the boxer. As you can see, he is wearing a pair of brass knuckles and beating people up, which is obviously cheating in boxing, which is why he is kind of a sinner here. And the last one up is the magician, and it's not completely clear what he does. This lady does seem like perfectly willing to be tied up. She's a flapper here, and he ties her up, he handcuffs her or whatever, and I guess he's trying to do the trick where you throw knives and it misses the person. It's like supposed to be an amazing trick, but he probably hits them on purpose, kills them on purpose, just for his own messed up reasons or whatever it is. Those are the four different things that these guys are kind of like sinners for, and obviously they're supposed to be stuck here until they repent, yada yada yada. I guess we'll figure all that stuff out whenever the storyline comes around, but that part was actually very important to the storyline and why they are actually stuck here. So moving on farther in the trailer to the death and destruction, we get crawlers being made. We have the insta-kill power-up being dropped over there, which is not too exciting, but we pretty much knew that those were going to be coming back. But the next shot right here is very interesting for a few different reasons. Number one, this is an actual pack-a-punched gun. It has the purple fire marks, and then obviously it has the sound that is a pack-a-punched gun sound, which you can't hear because I have the sound turned off because I don't want any copyright issues or anything like that. But it is a pack-a-punch gun. Pack-a-punch guns are returning. But most importantly, and this is the time that I'm going to talk about the zombies' eyes, there's a Samantha mystery box spot. So mystery box is returning, but most importantly, it has the teddy bear on top. This is a Samantha mystery box spot. I know that sometimes they use the Samantha mystery box even in maps where it's not Samantha controlled zombies. So that is not the main thing that I wanted to talk about. I wanted to use this opportunity to talk about these zombies. The zombies have yellow eyes, and I talked about this in my video yesterday. We kind of could tell with the teaser images that they came out with, but it seems like Samantha is in control of these zombies. Now, there's some sort of mysterious, ominous announcer voice that is talking to the characters and kind of explaining to them why they're there inside of this trailer, but it does not say who. It does not sound like Samantha, but yet the yellow eyes are the main thing that kind of gives it away that Samantha controls these. This is just further confirmation that it possibly could be a Samantha type game where Samantha is the one who calls out the nuke, or she's the one that talks about the max ammo or anything like that. And it's very interesting, and I guess we're just gonna have to wait to see a little bit farther until we actually get this in game. So first up, we have a little piece of a cutscene here, which means that we will be getting some sort of intro or outro cutscene inside of the zombie map, and then we get the sword gameplay, and I'll talk about the sword gameplay in very much depth in just a second here. But first off, I wanted to pause it on this first shot of actually getting the sword and talk about what is on the left-hand side of your screen right now. Now, if you remember my video yesterday, we had this kind of screenshot in the background. It seemed like something was chained up. It seemed like there was some sort of hellacious door that had this weird coating on it. If you take a look at the left-hand side of your screen, that is that door right there. You can see the chains on the bottom. It seems like we still don't know what is behind this door. Maybe it's just a door. Maybe it's literally nothing else. Maybe you have to do something special to get into it. But again, there's no indication on what is being chained up in the middle of this door. It's still super hard to see, and it's not really super clear. It seems like it's not something super big or some sort of boss zombie or anything like that. But as you can see, that is the door that we talked about in yesterday's video. And if you look in the background past that, we get that kind of purplish fountain thing. It looks honestly like a water fountain to me, like a very short water fountain, and it looks like there's a couple of them all over the map, and these little purple things are kind of existing in the map. And last but not least, there is a trap on the right-hand side. You can see it by the green light, and if you kind of watch in a fast motion, it does stay there, and it does look a lot like a trap. So not 100% confirmed on the traps, but it does look a lot like it, and we can kind of expect to see those returning in zombies. But let's play a little bit farther and talk about this freaking sword, which looks absolutely amazing. So it reminds me a lot of a Hell's Retriever that you can actually swing. So as you can see, it's going to one-shot the zombies. It looks to be some sort of weapon that you can pick up. It looks maybe like it's a wonder weapon or something, but it also works like the Hell's Retriever in that you can send it, it'll go flying through zombies, it'll reach the last zombie, it'll come flying back to the person who threw it. And it also has an ability where you can slam the ground and electrocute a whole bunch of zombies. It doesn't necessarily look like they are killed at this point, but it does look like they do take a lot of damage, and they might fall over and die after this. So I guess depending on which round it is, it's probably not a one-shot kill every single round, but it does look like it does stun all the zombies, which is a good thing for getting away from tight situations. And this does look like a very awesome weapon in general. So going on to the next shots here, we finally get to talk about the gumball machine and everything like that, which is why all of these zombies are avoiding and kind of walking right past this person. He's kind of invisible, and then we have an awesome shot of the zombie realizing that he's there and then getting his head blown off right when the effect wears off, which is actually a gumball effect. But before we talk about that, we have one more thing to get to, and that is the giant freaking zombie shield boost, where the character hops up and just straight up rides the zombie shield across the map, insta-killing every single zombie that it hits along the way, and then ending with a giant explosion there, creating a crawler, and then having a zombie with his arm blown off. But finally, let's go ahead and talk about this gumball machine, which is a very interesting addition to zombies, and it seems like these are all temporary effects. We didn't actually see any sort of perks or anything like that, but they basically talked about the perks already. They basically already showed these things in the Collector's Edition or the Juggernog Edition, which I talked about in a previous video. I will have that link down below, by the way. But we basically had these Speed Cola coasters and everything like that, Jug coasters. We didn't see any Jug, but I think all of these different Gumballs are going to give you limited time effects that are not going to be permanent, and you basically have to pay every single time you want one of these special limited time effects. So I'm going to be showing you every single one that shows up here. The first one looks like a big person and then like a little baby crawling away. That's honestly what it looks like. I'm not sure if each of these effects correlate to what the gumball was that they chewed right before it, but I'm going to show you guys all the different gumballs right here. The second one that actually showed up was this kind of hand coming up from the ground, and this one looks to actually give you some extra power-ups that just kind of come out of the ground randomly. You don't have to kill zombies for max ammo. It's possible for max ammo to just pop up in front of you, which you're going to see in a second here. And then last but not least, we have kind of this mystery gumball, which looks to turn you into a giant kind of ferocious Kraken type monster, which you're going to see in just a second here. But let's go ahead and play a little bit farther and see all these effects in action. So let's go ahead and check out each one of these gumballs being eaten and some of the effects that you can actually get from the gumball machine. The first one up is going to give you basically zombie invisibility, and as you can see, all the zombies are running away, the crawlers are ignoring them, everything like that. Very, very cool, and that's actually the effect that was in place earlier on in this video whenever I showed you guys that all the zombies were just kind of realizing he was there. The second effect that actually comes out, and this is obviously gameplay of the little hand coming out of the ground being eaten. The second effect is going to allow you to basically spawn in perks just running around the map, and then it kind of has a mystery one, which either is the Kraken one or it's just kind of like a random perk that we don't really know. But one of these things will actually let you just kind of send a pulse out from your body whenever zombies get too close. Another wall-by weapon in the background there, which is pretty darn cool. But and then this is very, very interesting as well. Power sliding is returning to zombies, or basically coming to the first place to zombies. As you can see, the character just power slid around that corner and was able to fire while power sliding, which means no more dolphin dive in zombies. Very, very sad, but again, that's just life. That's just how things go, and it's got to go. It had to go at some point, and this is the game where dolphin diving kind of exited the premises. But before we get any farther talking about the Kraken type zombie monster here that you actually turn into, take a look at the door that we talked about earlier on the right. If you take a look at that door on the right, it is actually glowing red and basically on fire. Now, it's not really clear if this was on fire before this character turned into the Kraken, but maybe turning into the Kraken is the key to unlocking this door. It is basically glowing red. It looks like you have some sort of sixth sense or vision or something like that through walls that allows this door to kind of light up and look like it's on fire, or lava is spilling out of it, which is very, very interesting whenever he turns into the Kraken here. But let's actually talk about the Kraken thing itself. It looks like he has two different attacks. One, whenever you turn into this thing, that is, one of them is shocking the zombies, and the other one is beating the crap out of the zombies. As you can see, that was the shock and whip. Shock and whip, that's basically the combo that he was using inside of that short little video there. And then he obviously turns back into the person and kind of looks at this shot of what did I just turn into, and it's very, very cinematic of each of our characters kind of wondering what they're doing here, what they did wrong, yada, yada, yada. And the one I wanted to pause on was not of the cop right here, but of the boxer. He kind of looks at his hand, and it looks like there's some sort of symbol or marking or something on his hand that may just be smudge. It may be nothing at all. It may just be him looking at his hand because his hands are pretty or something. I don't really know why he's looking at his hand here, but it looks very, very strange the way he looked at it and the way that there's something kind of in the middle of his glove, which is kind of interesting. But that was all the effects. Let's go ahead and get into the Big Daddy Zombie. We are almost done with this trailer. Let's get into it. So here we go. Let's go ahead and talk about the Big Daddy Boss Zombie, which I am super, super excited to face. Now, this thing is basically going to have two different stages, it seems like. The first is kind of the spawn in, and it just attacks you normally phase, and then it has kind of the enraged stage, where it's going to spawn these little flying creatures that are going to fly around. Now, I checked meticulously. I checked every single shot of this scene. It seems like whenever you are fighting this big guy, whenever you're fighting the little flying zombies that are flying around and obviously attacking you with their spitball thing, and then kind of another attack, which I'll talk about whenever we take this thing into slow-mo for the second time. This is basically its own separate round. It is not going to have any zombies spawning in. You don't have to worry about zombies kind of double hitting you, trapping you in a corner or whatever. This is going to be its own big fight, and each and every one of the characters is going to have to kind of focus on killing this thing and shooting off each one of its three heads. Now, Each one of its heads is going to have its own kind of life bar, and you're going to see that in just a second here. One of the heads gets shot off, but the other two are just completely fine, and you're going to have to take out each and every head for this thing to go down, I assume. Now, there's probably a way to take it out without maybe just like shooting a whole bunch of RPGs at it. Maybe that'll destroy the heads, but you see right here that one of the heads gets shot off, it loses its top jaw, and then it's going to have to take out the other two heads as well, because even when it loses its middle head, it is still good to go. As you can see right there, it's still going toward our players, and only has 2 of the 3 heads still intact. But then it seems to go into some sort of enrage mechanic where it sends out these little flying zombies that are going to go around, and they look honestly like a little bit like wasp maybe, and they have the features of what I would say would be a caterpillar. And the reason I say that is some of them start glowing and kind of materializing into different things. It looks kind of like they're changing or metamorphizing or something like that, but I think they can teleport. Now, I'm not completely sure on that, but it seems like wherever one of these orangish kind of circles appear around them, that's where one appears or disappears every single time that happens. And it's very, very interesting, but I just wanted to quickly point that out and ask what you guys thought about it. And last but not least, we have the last shots of the scenes, the last thing that we ever see of zombies, probably for another couple of months, the ending part of the trailer. Let's go ahead and slow that down and talk about it once again. This is one of the most interesting shots of the entire scene, and is definitely either cutscene or Easter egg or something related that is going to explain something in the storyline. I'm not really sure what, I'm not really sure who, what, when, where, how. This is absolutely amazing, and it's a really, really cool cinematic that we actually got to see inside of this, and kind of see it from a cinematic point of view. So, on the ground, I'm going to talk about everything else besides the kind of main thing that is happening inside of this. On the ground, all around where this is happening, there's this kind of satanic fire popping up that we talked about a little bit earlier on whenever the guy turned into the Kraken. The door kind of had this molten fire on it. That is all around everywhere inside of this room. And also, on the ground, there is this satanic star, which is literally like the star of Satan. It has the 5 prongs, or at least it looks to have those. And it is very, very ritualistic looking. It's very, very strange looking. And it seems like, let's finally talk about what's happening in the middle. It seems like this box, whatever this box is, I don't even know what it could possibly be. Maybe it looks kind of like something a piece of jewelry would go into. It flies up and it turns into a person, which is kind of standing there, which is looking like a sacrifice, but this little box turned into a person. And then he has this kind of fire inside of him, and then all of these different little, I don't know what you would call them, little, they kind of look like the Green Goblin's little slicer blades are all flying around him. As you can see, they fly up with the box, and there's some sort of orb sitting on the desk. All these little slicer blades are kind of rotating all around him, and then they go into him, and he explodes into blood. And then, as you can see, that little orb is sitting on the desk, just kind of spinning around. Maybe this is what activates it. Maybe this is the feature of it. And then it looks like he literally just explodes, and then all of the blood is flying back down into this orb at the very, very end whenever the scene cuts off. And then it cuts to black, and that is Black Ops 3 Zombies reveal. One last thing to talk about right before I do this, I wanted to point it out. I'm pretty sure it is part of his magic act because he is the magician, and it's kind of showing off each one of the characters kind of doing what they did best. This is the magician right here, and it looks like he is throwing some sort of orb of something. It looks like he's in the same place he was at the very, very beginning of the trailer, kind of showing off his knife throwing thing, and obviously probably killing the lady he strapped there. Each one of the people, this is the dancer here who also is killing people. That's the guy with the brass knuckles, yada, yada, yada. And then we get the shot of the 3-headed Kraken-type monster, which is now a 2-headed Kraken-type monster, Call of Duty Black Ops 3 Zombies. The person in the middle explodes, and then it fades to black. So that is the trailer. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you smash that like button, and also, most importantly, make sure you do subscribe so you never miss a video from me. I'm going to be solving all of the Easter eggs. I'm going to be doing everything Black Ops 3 Zombies related. I cannot wait for this. This is where I started my channel. This is where my channel grew, and I cannot wait to return. Finally, 2 years later, it is here. Treyarch Zombies is upon us. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you come over on Twitter and follow me for all of the excitement. I'll be posting news there first and then making videos about it. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. And I will see each and every one of you guys in the next video talking about Black Ops 3 Zombies. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you all later. Bye-bye.